Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
Karmendriyani sanyamya,
Ya aste manasa smaran,
Ya aste manasa smaran,
Indriyartan vimudhatma,
Indriyartan vimudhatma,
Mithyachara sa uchyate,
Mithyachara sa uchyate,
Yastvindriyani manasa,
Yastvindriyani manasa,
Niyamyarabhaterjuna,
Niyamyarabhaterjuna,
Karmendriyai karmayogam,
Karmendriyai karmayogam,
Asakta savishishyate,
Asakta savishishyate,
Niyatam kuru karmatvam,
Niyatam kuru karmatvam,
Karmajyayo hyakarmanaha,
Karmajayo hyakarmanaha,
Sharirayatra pichate,
Sharirayatra pichate,
Na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
Na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
Yajñarthat karmanonyatra,
Yajñartat karmanonyatra,
Lokoyam karma bandhanaha,
Lokoyam karma bandhanaha,
Tadartham karma kaunteya,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, we were seeing karma with respect to akarma. That is, first we were seeing what is akarma, and then based on that we were deriving what karma is, which is just the opposite. Now, this is a very interesting technique which Krishna is adopting here. That is, to learn about something by seeing what the opposite is. That is, deriving the meaning of something by first determining what the opposite is and then going back, reversing the meaning of the opposite. This is a very interesting psychological technique. The mind has this weakness of getting attached to the negative. The mind is able to grasp or absorb the negatives very fast, but for some reason when it comes to the positive, the mind is unsure. This is one of the weaknesses of the mind. A simple example is, a person may do 99 good things to you, but if that person does one negative thing, now your mind will remember only that one. It will forget that 99. In life also, you may have had 100 wonderful experiences, but the 101st experience, which is unpleasant, that is what the mind remembers. So whether it is in terms of understanding or absorption or in terms of memory, the untrained mind generally tends to gravitate towards the negative. Even though your goal is positive, if you were to sit quietly and ask yourself, what is it that I want? Ultimately, the positive or negative, you will definitely say positive only. But practically, the mind tends to forget its goal. And the negative has more power over an untrained mind. If you Just consider yourself seeing a news channel or reading a newspaper. There may be so many positive incidents. Now all that you'll skip or you'll just read it casually. But if there is any negative incident, now your mind will start dwelling on that. Just try to observe and understand your own mind. So when it comes to understanding what is karma, even though it is very simple, the mind finds it difficult. Whereas when it comes to understanding what akarma is, it is very easy. See, for example, supposing you have to find out what is it that you want. That is one of the exercises, sadhana exercises, which these masters have given to all the sadhaks. Even in the 22-day empowerment program, the Finding Rhythm in Life, almost every day this has been mentioned. Start thinking about what you want. Now, many people have mentioned that I'm finding it very difficult to find out what I want. Why? Because the mind is so complicated. The mind has become so complicated that what is very simple actually becomes very difficult. Like if you ask a child, what is it that you want? The child will just express its wish in a very simple way. It will say, I want this particular ice cream, or I want this toy. Whatever it is, in a simple plain way. But as an adult, you are unable to do that. Why? Because the mind has has become so confused and complicated. So it loses the clarity about what it wants. Whereas, what is interesting is, if I were to ask you, what is it that you don't want? You will be able to immediately tell me. I don't want this, I don't want that. That is, list down all your problems or issues. You will be able to give me the list very fast. If I were to tell you, list down your goals, list down what are the experiences you want, you will find it very difficult. So, as a sadhak, you need to train your mind to become very simple, not be so complicated. You cannot achieve it at one go straight away. That is why these great masters have used this technique. That is, they analyzed, okay, today your mind is gravitating towards the negative. Now, how to bring it back to the positive? They say, first see what the negative is. Anyway, the mind is seeing. And then ask yourself, what is the opposite of that? Then the mind is able to jump from this side to the other side. So what is karma? Very difficult. What is akarma? Inaction or not doing anything, being lazy. That's it's easily conceivable. Now the opposite of that is karma. So you can employ this technique to educate your mind, to influence your mind positively in any area of your life. Once, a sadhak, a lady, she asked me this. She said, I'm finding it very difficult to list down. I had given her a sadhana to list down those things which will make her happy. Because she came and told me that I'm very, very unhappy and I'm frustrated in my life. I'm married, but I'm frustrated in marriage. I'm frustrated with myself. I'm extremely unhappy with the family, my own career, everything. So I had given her a small exercise. I said, why don't you just write 2-3 things which will make you happy in each area. At least pick up like family, career, like this 2-3 things, and write down what is that which will make me happy. Now she came back after a while and she said, I'm unable to do that. I asked her why. She said, I don't know. When I ask myself what will give me happiness, we are not talking of the absolute happiness here, relatively. My mind just goes blank. I said, why? For example, in your family life, can't you determine what will give you happiness? She said, I'm unable to. How do I go about it? Can you guide me, sir? So then, when I penetrated and observed her mind, I found that it was caught up with this weakness. See, once you get caught up with this weakness of getting attached to the negative, it almost becomes impossible. She rightly said her mind was going blank when she was trying to think of something positive. And we are not talking about implementation and all that. Just thinking, imagining and writing it on a piece of paper. That itself was so difficult. The mind was going blank. So then I told her, you bring me a notebook. I said, no, she had an accounts background, So I said, no, just think that this is your accounts book. This is the life accounts, So on one side you can write your debits, one side you can write your credits. Now I am asking you to write your credits, whatever will give you happiness. You are unable to do that. So what you do is, write down what gives you unhappiness today. Can you specifically write that down? For example, with respect to your family, can you write down what are the things which are bothering you today? Before I could even finish telling her, she took the pen and started writing. It was a long list, about 25 to 30 things she wrote. A notebook, that page was not enough. I said, that's okay, you can stop here because there is only some guidelines which I am giving. Later on you can do it at home. So what is it that will give me that is giving me unhappiness today? She said, my husband is being very rude to me. He uses very rude words. She had gone into specifics. What are the words which he is using, which is hurting her today, which is causing unhappiness? Everything was written so clearly in a precise way. Financially, what was disturbing her? So I then told her, now that you have written, let us just take the example, okay, your relationship with your husband. Now you have written, my husband is rude to me. This is causing unhappiness. This is causing stress. Now, on the right side, just write the opposite. What is the opposite of this? So I am asking you to write what will give you happiness. So that became very easy for her. My husband is rude to me. This is causing unhappiness. So what will give me happiness? My husband is kind to me. Is talking in a kind way. So like this, she started seeing the negative and what is the opposite. Then she started getting clarity. She started understanding, oh, this is what I really want in this relationship. because she was not getting what she was wanting, because she didn't know what she was wanting. She was just getting frustrated and unhappy, but she had no clarity about what she was wanting. So I said, similarly, you take the area of health. What are the things which are all wrong today, which are causing problems? Oh, I have a knee pain. I have a issue with my lungs. Oh, so many things. Now, what is the opposite of that? My knee is very strong and flexible. My lungs, are very strong, healthy. Whatever it is, in your own way, it becomes very easy for you to conceive the opposite. Whereas, when you try to do it directly, your mind finds it very difficult. It gave her a very big insight. The most interesting part is, once she started this exercise, after a while, she came to me and she said, "Sir, nowadays when I'm fixing goals, I don't need to really ask myself what gives me unhappiness and then what gives me happiness, all that is not required. The moment I ask myself what is it that I want, the mind immediately gets that clarity. I'm able to write down. This so-called life debit page, that is not required for me anymore. Why? Because now the mind is trained. The mind is trained to think in a simple way, in a positive way. So this technique can be effectively used to influence your own mind. Our masters have used it right from the relative knowledge to the absolute knowledge. When they answer this question, who is God? Now, if they give the answer directly, nobody can grasp it. So they go about saying, what is not God? All the indicators of the infinite are all saying what is not that. That is very easy to, relatively, it's very easy for the mind to conceive and hold on to. So, last week, this sadhana was given, depending on from akarma to karma, depending on what the karma is, the color of karma changes. So if akarma is inaction, then karma becomes action. So the sadhana was given. Ask yourself, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Am I doing it? Now, if you find that it is very difficult to answer that question, now use the same technique. Okay, what should not be done here? What can cause disturbance in the situation? That will be relatively easy for you to find out. This is only if you are finding it difficult to get to the point straight away. If you if you are able to hit at your goal or whatever the positive is directly, that is preferred. But in case you are unable to do that, then if it's not gravitating towards the positive, the mind will naturally gravitate towards the negative. There you can use this method. So in the scriptures you will find the masters using both these methods. They are attacking the mind from all angles so that a sadhak who wishes to improve himself or herself will get all the possible inputs. There is no escape from improvement. That is the idea. So what is it that I ought to do? What is my duty? See whether you're able to determine your duty. If you're finding it difficult, then what is it that if I do will disturb the situation? What should I avoid? For example, in a relationship, what is the right way of functioning? You may find it very difficult to answer. In that case, okay, what is the wrong way of functioning? Being rude to the other person, reacting in an angry way. Like this, you will find, actually, I don't need to tell you that. You will give me a better list. Like that lady, very quickly she wrote what she does not want. Now, be specific there and see what is the opposite of each thing. You yourself will get the answer. See the geniuses of these great masters. See, once they have decided that this wisdom should be imparted, they do it in so many ways. They have studied the mind completely, and they have devised various methods and ways to tackle all the weaknesses of the mind. So that is why we say this wisdom is universal. It can be universally applied by anyone because it covers the human personality and life in its entirety, not in a partial way. See, one thing is to stick to one particular method. If that suits you, fine. But sometimes what will happen is that method may not suit you. That is why these masters always gave so many methods. So sometimes one method will suit you. Sometimes another method will suit you. Accordingly, you can keep applying that particular principle. It will give you excellent results in your sadhana. So, indeed, action is superior to inaction. Otherwise, if you think about it, he has already said, Niyatam kuru karmatvam, do your obligatory action. Actually, the message ends there. What is the necessity to take up action and now compare it with its opposite, which is inaction? This is talking from the sadhak's level. That is the sadhak who is caught up with the negative. A master usually sees, whether the student's mind, is running in this direction or is it running in that direction. So without contradicting the mind, without putting a kind of a force on the mind, the master goes along with the mind and then brings it to the desired destination. This is how you need to tackle your mind. If you directly contradict, now the mind will not be able to follow it. So I gave you one example in that area of what is it that will give me happiness. I gave you that example of that lady. Now, like this, you can apply it in all other areas. For example, healthy habits, What are the healthy habits? You will not be able to give out straight away. Supposing you're unable to give out. Okay, what are the unhealthy habits? Immediately you will give a list. Eating artificial food, processed food, not sleeping on time, being indisciplined, everything you yourself will write down. Nobody needs to tell you. Then what is the opposite of each thing? Let those become your daily habits. Then automatically you will become healthy. So, one person has asked this question, how to be a perfect sadhak? I am not at all getting clarity. No problem. What is the meaning of imperfect sadhak? You write that, no? Imperfect sadhak means not doing the sadhana on a daily basis. Skipping, giving excuses and skipping sadhana. Not attending the empowerment programs when there is an opportunity provided. Some reason or other is cooked up by the mind to avoid it. Not putting any effort to practice these principles. Like that, you yourself will write the list. Now, what is the opposite of that? Being irregular, not doing the Yoga Sankirtan Sadhana on a daily basis. I should start listening to the Yoga Sankirtan Sadhana on a daily basis. No, giving some reason or other and skipping the empowerment program. Attending the empowerment programs whenever the opportunity is provided. Like this, you will be able to easily determine. The application of this principle is very wide. It can be applied in any area. So if your mind is directly going to the positive, the masters have given one technique. If the mind is going towards the negative, no issue. As long as you show the intention to improve, there is no issue. They will somehow bring you to the positive. But if you don't have the intention to improve, if you just want to stay put with your negativities, you don't want to change, you don't want to put any effort, then no technique will work. That also I am mentioning here. It is all to do with the intention, the bhavana. A highway robber became the great sage Valmiki. You have read that, no? Imagine a robber, a highway robber, from that level, he transformed himself to become one of the greatest saints. Valmiki, who wrote the Ramayana. How did this transformation take place? He was moving so much towards the negative, no? His guru was sage Narada. So when Narada encountered, when he saw Valmiki, he could see the spiritual potential in him, but today he was caught up in the negatives. So he went along with him and brought him out of that. So it does not matter at what level you are in today. The question is, what is your intention? Do you want to move up or do you want to stay put there and move down further? That is the question. It is not where you are that matters, but where do you want to go from here? Generally, when you approach a master, you just keep listing all your problems. That is where you are today. Where do you want to go? So the master, in different ways, is trying to get you back on track. When we study the Bhagavad Gita, the message comes across very powerfully. We should be very, very clear about where we want to go. What are the changes which we need to make to our lives to reach our destination? So direct method is one thing. This is an indirect method, which is also very powerful. So according to the meaning of akarma, the meaning of karma keeps on changing. So we saw a few dimensions of akarma and the corresponding dimensions of karma. Like the first dimension which we saw was akarma means action, inaction. Not doing whatever you're supposed to do. The opposite of karma, of that is karma, which is doing what you ought to do in life, in any given situation. If you do certain things, that will cause destruction. If you do certain things, that will give you peace, happiness, progress. Either you determine that directly or you determine that indirectly. What approach will work, that depends on you only. Once you have started getting into action, now akarma becomes improper work. If you do the work in an improper way, you lack the skills, the proper skills to complete that work, then that is akarma. So then what is karma? Doing proper work. Doing work in a proper way. So you need to put in efforts to hone your skills. And as I told you, the principle of Kaizen, continuous improvement, that is what you should apply. Your life will become so interesting because there are infinite ways by which you can keep on improving and evolving. There is no end to that. Now you learn the necessary skills. Thereafter, your work can still be inefficient. The akarma is inefficient work. When does your work become inefficient? When you don't give your 100% there. You may be very skillful, but you may not put your heart and soul into your activities. Then that even though you're doing it in a proper way, it will still not be effective. The efficiency and effectiveness will not be there. So what is the opposite of the akarma now? Being very efficient and effective in all your activities. How do you improve your efficiency and effectiveness? By learning to focus your mind, putting your heart and soul into everything which you're doing today. Don't do something in a half-hearted way. You will not get the desired results. In the yogic parlance, either you do something or you don't do something. There is nothing called I'll try to do. Half-hearted way of doing is not considered as doing at all. Either I do my sadhana or I don't do my sadhana. See, make your life very simple that way. Either this or that. Now, I will try my best. Some people, 99.9% I'll try to do it. See, all these are unnecessary complications which the mind brings. Learn to simplify your thought process. Approach life in a simple, straightforward way. It will pay you rich dividends. When you want to analyze, you should analyze only where it is required. When there is a block, you need to handle it, there you can analyze. Unnecessarily going and analyzing where it's not required at all, that will only complicate things. See, the mind has become so complicated That even when we talk of, when it is said, breathe deeply, many people ask me, sir, what do you mean by deep breathing? What do I exactly need to do? Breathing is a very natural process. Deep breathing means just make that natural process a little elongated and deep. That's all it is. It's a feel. You will get it if you do it naturally. But there also different techniques are required. The yogis have provided various breathing techniques, this, that and all. Why? Because the mind is unable to think in a simple and straight way. When it is said, in meditation, close your eyes, feel the divine vibrations. One person asked me, sir, what exactly am I supposed to feel? If it can be explained in words, then why do the meditation at all? To a complicated mind, when you have a complicated approach to life, even the simplest of tasks will become very difficult. Similarly, when it comes to decision making, karma means not only physical action, emotional action, intellectual action is decision making. How to be very efficient and effective while taking decisions, how to make effective decisions by using the simple approach. Some people complicate it so much. They bring in unnecessary factors in the name of analysis. And their whole mind gets clogged. They get confused, and then they confuse everybody else also. So, number one, action, that is inaction, action. Number two, improper action, proper action. And number three, inefficient, ineffective action, efficient and effective action. This is the akarma versus karma. Very, very powerful dimensions. Now, I'll give you one more dimension of akarma, which will be very useful in absorbing the energy of karma. Akarma also means a sin. Papa, we say no. Papa karma is akarma. Papa means sin. Now, what is a sin? The opposite of sin is virtue. Punya. Punya means virtue. What do we mean by a sinful action? Whenever you try to harm someone, that is called a sin. I'm giving you a few dimensions of what sin is, so that becomes clear to you. Whenever you try to harm somebody else in any way, that is called a sin. Actually, philosophically, what is considered a sin is when a karma can give you a negative result. What is papa karma? Whenever you perform a karma, I told you, the law of karma is about cause and effect. You act and then there is something which you get back, the consequence. Now, whenever the consequence of your action is harmful to you, it causes stress to you, that is called a sin. So, when you try to harm someone, this is an action which you are performing. Now, that will come back to you in some way, which will agitate you, then that is called papa karma. So, akarma means sinful activities. The opposite of akarma here is karma, which is punya, punya karma. Whenever you do a particular action and that has its consequence, and when that consequence is beneficial to you, if it gives you happiness, if it gives you, if it does good to you, then that is called punya. So sin or virtue is determined, number one, by the intention, and number two, by the nature of the consequence. Whatever you sow, you will reap. If you sow a mango seed, you will get a mango tree. If you sow some other seed, you will get that particular tree. So if you sow negative actions, negative emotions, negative thoughts, now what will be the consequence? The consequence will also be negative. That is what you need to face. That is called papa, sin. The opposite of that is karma, punya. Acquiring positive results in life. See, the consequence means results. What comes back to you? So you need to understand the word karma is so dynamic. On one hand, it means action emanating from you. On the other hand, it means the consequence of the action which comes back to you. That's why this word karma is an amazing, it represents a comprehensive, amazing principle. So you can determine whether something is a sin or a virtue based on the consequence. And how do you change that consequence? By going into the very action which was performed. So, if you want to do karma yoga, now start doing more punya. Start acquiring more punya. See, generally the punya and papa, that is virtue and sin, are the results, what is coming back to you. But what comes back to you depends on what you are giving. Depending on the ingredients which you are using, you will get that particular kind of dish when you're cooking. It's the same thing in life also. So when it is said by the masters, do karma, that is acquire more punya, it means do those activities which can give you benefit in the long run. Avoid those activities which are sinful, means which can harm you in the long run. See, generally, punya and papa, when it comes to sin, it is always understood in the moral sense alone. Morality and ethics are also a part of this, but it is not restricted to mere morality or ethics. Anything which gives back negative results, that is papa. Supposing you do something which can harm your body. Let us say, for example, you are not sleeping properly. You are not giving your body proper sleep in the night. Now that is a sin with respect to the body, because it will give you harmful results. Here you may morally be a good person. We are not talking of moral goodness or badness here, but the results will still be negative. Actually, this will answer the usual question which people ask. Why is it that good people suffer and bad people are prospering? First of all, that statement itself is wrong. It's not that all good people are suffering and all bad people are prospering. It's not like that. But if at all you find a good person suffering or a bad person prospering, It is again, when you understand the law of karma properly, then you will get the answers. The law of karma is not restricted to mere moral goodness and badness. See, when you say a good person is suffering, you mean that person is morally good. He may not harm others. He may genuinely be a good person, morally. But he may have all unhealthy habits. He may be a highly indisciplined person financially. He may be a spendthrift. He may not be focusing on saving. So many indisciplined habits may be there, due to which he may be suffering. The law of karma is very precise and mathematical. It is a law of cause and effect. Your effect is dependent on the cause. So when you have a narrow understanding of what this law of karma is, that is when you ask these questions. Similarly, if a bad person is prospering, what you mean is he is morally bad, but he may have other qualities which can give him success. For example, he may be fixing a goal very clearly. He may be working very hard. All those karmas, those actions will fetch him certain results in life. But his prosperity is not because of moral badness. Similarly, this person's suffering is not because of the moral goodness. That will also have its effect. In life, the whatever situations which you face they arise from a combination of all the effects of the various causes which you have only sown. Please understand this. So, number one, sin means morally trying to harm someone, that is being destructive. Number two, it also means having unhealthy, indisciplined, negative habits. Negative, again, here we are not talking of moral negativity, but things that can harm you. Like a person may be an addict to alcohol. He may be morally a good person, but still he will suffer. He can't say, I am a very good person, but why am I suffering? Because your actions are not okay. So you need to learn to divide your activities into two. One is that those that can cause moral consequences and those that can cause literal consequences. In both these areas, the karma is superior to akarma. Always go for the right action. So when we talk of harming others, it is not only in terms of, we're not talking of only physical violence. Even when you gossip about somebody else, you know what that person did, he did this. Now, vicariously you're deriving an enjoyment from that the other person, something negative is happening in another person's life. Now that will come back to your life. Supposing, let's say, you are constantly criticizing or gossiping about others, other families, saying that, oh, look at what happened in that family, the son did this, the daughter did this, this is the way the parents have brought them up. Like this, when you are, this is called character assassination. If you have a loose tongue and if you talk about others like that, now what will be the consequence in your life? Life is like a circle. You may forget all the causes, but everything will gather and the effect will come back to you as papa. You will be facing the same situation at some point of time. You will feel so insecure. What will others think of me? Oh, my son, my daughter is behaving like this. What will happen? All that stress will come. If you want to get relieved of that stress, in sadhana, you need to release all those negative causes which you have sown. See, what we do in the yogic sadhana, For example, Yoga Sankirtan every day, is that you have sown many seeds in the past, the causes. Now some of them have already started manifesting in your life. Some of them are yet to manifest. Whether they are manifesting today or whether they are yet to manifest, we release all the negative causes and create a positive energy. Then automatically your life will start changing for the better. So number one, moral and ethical actions. Whenever you try to harm someone, that is called immoral in spirituality. Whenever you think of the benefit of yourself and others, that is virtue. So follow that. Number two, whenever you do things which can give you negative results, you may be morally good, but still it can fetch you negative results. That is also called a sin. So if you want to be healthy, I have taken that empowerment. It is there, Kaya Tattva. All the principles have been given. Follow that. If you want to progress in your career, follow those principles which can give you success there. Don't say, I am having good thoughts, now I should get success there. Those two things may not be related at all. They beautifully depicted this in the Mahabharata. The Pandavas were basically good people, morally, relatively. See, nobody is 100% perfect. Even a very moral person like Yogishri, when he was playing the dice game, his mind got deluded. He performed certain negative actions. Even though they were morally good in general, because of some foolish actions, they had to suffer. If you read the Mahabharata, it is so clear. So apply this law of karma purely in terms of cause and effect. Sometimes the cause and effect can be in terms of morality. Sometimes it can be in just in ordinary things. All those factors do not matter. Always go for karma. Always go for those actions which will give you punya, good results in life. A student may not want to harm anyone, but he is not putting in proper effort to study. Then that will have its consequence. I know many morally good people unnecessarily suffering when it comes to finance because they don't know how to plan, how to create wealth, how to plan properly. They are highly indisciplined when it comes to spending. And then they say, oh God, I didn't do any harm to anyone. Why is it that this suffering is coming? If you put your finger in fire and then say, I am a very good person, your finger will still burn only. Please understand. So this particular dimension of karma and akarma has to be understood in a very deep way, not in a shallow way. So when you take akarma to be sin, papa, then karma becomes virtue, punya. So as a sadhak, make it very simple. Since anything negative is a sin, anything positive is a virtue. Negative in the long run. Because sometimes again the tamasic mind will come to erroneous conclusions. Oh, if I exercise, it is causing pain. Initially, of course, it will cause pain. That pain is the pain of growth, So immediately you will stop. No, it is not that. In the long term, whatever gives you positivity, that is punya. In the long term, whatever gives you negative results, that is papa, sin. So, you can ask yourself these questions. I am giving you one more homework. This is an addition to last week's homework. What was last week's homework? First, ask yourself in any situation, what am I supposed to do here? Am I doing it? Second, what is a proper way of doing this? Ask yourself. Third, how do I increase my efficiency and effectiveness while doing this action? Now, ask yourself the fourth question. Will this give a long-term benefit, long-term happiness to me and others around? Yes means go ahead. No means don't do it. That is called karma. See, if you apply these guidelines properly, it will give you immense clarity for you to decide on what you want to do. Should I marry this person or not? In the long run, will this relationship give me happiness or sorrow? If you ask, you will definitely get the answer. Will this particular set of activities, will that give me benefits in the long run or no? It is not only about you, it is also about all others concerned. Whenever you are deciding something, always ask yourself, will this do good to me? Will this do good to my family? To all people concerned? If the answer is yes, only you should do it. And when you ask these questions, and if you are frank and straightforward to yourself, your own conscience will clearly tell you what is right and what is wrong. Your conscience is the best guide. When you are unable to follow your conscience, your external guru will tell you what is right, what is wrong. But actually an external guru will only mirror what your conscience is telling you from within. So whenever you follow your conscience, you're doing punya. When you act against your conscience, then that is akarma, sin. Because every time you act against your conscience, that will cause a lot of agitations in your mind. You may deny it verbally at the conscious level, but at the deep-rooted level, a tremendous pressure is created whenever you deviate from your conscience. This entire wisdom is being given so that you gain the clarity, you become very pure, and you get aligned to your own conscience. The conscience in you is like the compass. The compass always points to the north. Similarly, the conscience always points towards the truth. You may like it, you may not like it. When I say you, I mean the mind. The mind sometimes may like it, the mind may not like it. All these things do not matter. What is the truth? What is the right thing for me to do? And if you build this habit of following your conscience all the time, then you will grow tremendously. So, always choose karma over akarma. And according to the context of the situation, the meaning of akarma changes. And according to that, the meaning of karma also changes. This is the dynamic aspect of this sadhana. the principles are static. The nature of the higher principles is to be static. Standard principles are there. But when it comes to application, the nature of application is in being dynamic. Life keeps on changing, and accordingly, the application of these principles also should change. When you are not acting at all, then getting into action is sadhana. Once you have gotten into action, now you can't just stay put and pat yourself and say, I have gotten into action, I am doing sadhana, that is more than enough. No. Now that you have gotten into action, am I doing my action properly or not? You have to now move to the next level, no? Am I putting in efforts to master the right skills? If not, then you will stagnate there. Okay, I am mastering all the skills. Am I applying my heart and soul there? Or is my mind running everywhere? What efforts am I putting in ensuring that each and every action is efficient and effective? That is the next step. See, in these different dimensions which have been given about karma with respect to akarma, there is a gradation. At one level this is applicable, at the next level the second one is applicable. Then you move up further, the third dimension is applicable. And then comes the fourth dimension, which is avoiding sin and taking up punya. That is what is karma. It is not enough if you merely are in action. It is not enough if you do proper action. It is not enough if you are efficient. Ultimately, what is the direction of that karma? What is the direction of your action? What is the consequence it is going to fetch? That is so important. The first three can be applied by anybody, including a person who is performing negative activities. Supposing a person wants to do a negative action, he can get into action, do it in a proper way, in an efficient way. But that is not enough for Karma Yoga. The fourth one is the most important thing. Whenever your karma is having negative consequences, then that is called akarma. Whenever your actions are bringing in positive, beneficial consequences, that is called karma. So you make a note of all these four principles and find out. See, there is a nice homework. You're performing so many actions. In what areas are you avoiding actions? Apply the first principle. Okay, I am acting in these areas. Apply the second principle and see. Second and third. Okay, I am doing all this. I am being very dynamic. I am fetching a lot of results in life. Then apply the fourth principle. Thus, if you do your sadhana in a dynamic way, not in a rigid way, not in an orthodox rigid way, but in a dynamic way, you will grow. Your personality will start flowering. The same wisdom will not give you good effects if you apply this in a static way. That is, if you become rigid with these principles. Where there is rigidity in application, the growth will get stunted. When it comes to values, when it comes to principles, there should be that firmness. You should be rigid. No compromise there. When it comes to application, you should be very flexible. Sometimes you may do one thing. Sometimes you may have to do the opposite thing to get the same good effect. For example, let's take the example of health. If a person is working too much, if he is a workaholic, then if you go to a health expert, he will say, take some rest. If a person is very lazy, he's leading a very sedentary life. Now the same health expert will say, enough of rest, get to activity. The application can be even opposite, but the net effect will be the same. Okay, so think about this. These 4 dimensions which have been given to you, they are so powerful. They can make you extremely powerful, and they can bring in such wonderful results in your life, provided you absorb these principles and practice them properly in your life. Not practice them in your own way. See, some people practice these things in their own way. They interpret in their way. That will not yield results. Whatever is being given as it is, absorb them and practice them. Okay? So now, before the Nididhyasana meditation, I will take up one question. This is a personal question which has been asked, so I'm not mentioning the name of the person. We'll directly go to the question. Hari Om Yogishri. Sir, I have a query regarding the giving and taking aspect of life. When I am giving, that is doing my duties with respect to my spouse, I am giving my best, especially because of my gratitude. Gratitude towards him for the financial support which he is giving. But when I am receiving, I am compromising and adjusting in most of the issues, again based on gratitude, which is causing a lot of suppression in many aspects of my life. In fact, only in finance there is no pressure to pay bills, etc. Now the financial problem is resolved, but other than that, in every aspect I am compromising. Like there is no freedom of speech, freedom of choice of food, dress, entertainment, etc. No physical proximity to. I am unable to freely express myself. I feel caged and choked. Even how I spend my time is being monitored and ridiculed. I am not fighting back because I feel I owe him, and I also want to live peacefully. So maybe I should not let gratitude intrude on my receiving my liberties. I want more clarity here. It would be wonderful if you could guide me on this aspect. Thank you so much for everything, sir. This is a very practical question which you have asked. Now I'll straight away give the principles in a direct way. Kindly take it in a positive sense. See, when we talk of giving and taking in a relationship, you're saying your husband is supporting you financially, so you're feeling very grateful. But now what you're saying is that gratitude itself is causing problems because you're not receiving other things which are required in a relationship. And you've used the word, I'm not fighting back. There's no necessity to fight. But anyway, you're not, what you mean is you're not even expressing yourself because you feel you have to be grateful. So there is a lot of confusion here. First thing, please understand this. Gratitude is a very positive emotion that can never give you negative results. You are thinking you are grateful, but actually you are not grateful. That is not gratitude. It is actually a sign of weakness. You are financially independent. You are financially dependent. You have certain requirements. So you have that insecurity. Oh, if I express myself, will I lose my financial stability. That insecurity is being covered by using this word called gratitude. Please take this in a positive sense, as I told you, because I'm directly giving you the principle. Sometimes, when things are given in a direct way, it may hit you very hard, but it is only for your good, keeping your benefit in mind that this is being said. And it is not only for this person, but it is meant for all the sadhaks. Many a times we cover our weaknesses by using noble terminologies. When you are truly, truly grateful, now that will fetch positive results in your life. Whenever you truly follow any positive principle, that will give positive results in life. This is a thumb rule. We generally think, oh, I am doing a positive thing, but why is a negative result happening? I want you to probe further. Gratitude cannot come from a state of weakness. That is not gratitude. Without a choice, you're feeling insecure. Being grateful comes from a position of strength. If you're truly feeling grateful, then you will not have any hesitation in expressing yourself. You don't need to fight. See, whenever it is said you should speak for yourself, people take it as fighting. Not necessarily fighting. You will communicate whatever you want to communicate. And you will solve the situation. You will ensure that the other person understands, because if you're truly grateful, you will know that this is an issue in the relationship and I cannot be happy. And if I am not happy, I will not be able to give that person whatever is duly required. Naturally, when you are not happy, how can you do your duties properly towards the other person? So that relationship will have an issue. So if you are truly grateful, you will want to make the other person happy. And if you want to make the other person happy, the first pre-requirement is you have to be happy. So you will not hesitate to express yourself. This is what my problem is. And it's not that once you express, immediately the problem will get solved. Sometimes the other person may have a problem in understanding your point of view. So you should persistently try various ways by which you can communicate and get whatever it is that you want. But you are hesitating, you're being afraid to express yourself, and you're covering it up with this noble quality of gratitude. So my request to you is that remove this gratitude and all that. The simple fact is, there are a few things which you are wanting and you are not getting it, and you are afraid to express yourself. So what you should do is, first do the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana for a while, and since you have asked this question, already the intention is there. Whatever blocks you're having, first release all of them during the sadhana. The empowerments are meant for releasing these blocks only. The reason why those blocks are not getting released today is because you're covering them up with this noble quality of gratitude. That is why. So instead, be very simple. I told you, be very simple, plain. This is what my problem is. I am having a problem in expressing myself because I am scared. I am very hesitant. The moment you you understand it and you express your problem black and white as it is, that itself will give you so much of strength. Then automatically when you do your sadhana, all your blocks will come out. Those blocks could have been created because of various experiences which you have faced in your life before. You may have had people who would have tried to control you earlier. All that would have suppressed your personality. Now, when you release all those incidents from your life, then you will automatically become very balanced. Thereafter, you will not hesitate to communicate. So giving and receiving, both these aspects are very important when it comes to a relationship. If you are truly at that level, at a very high level, where you can give more, take less and still be happy, then the issue itself will not be there. So let's not compare with the great yogis and mahayogis who just selflessly kept giving. When it comes to that, in the next verses will be based on this giving and taking only yajna. We are going to discuss that in the next few verses. When it comes there, I'll explain that in detail. But as far as you're concerned, be very practical about it. Be very frank to yourself. This is what my problem is. Let me now solve it. Okay? I'm sure you've taken this in a positive sense. I've been very direct to you and also to other sadhaks who may be having similar issues. But please understand, there is no time to waste. What is the point in just beating around the bush and, making it sound very nice to hear and all that? This is what the truth is. As a sadhak, just absorb whatever was given. Don't take it personally. It is a solution, and apply it in your life. And get back if you have any problems in applying this. Okay? So now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am feeling more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond the body, beyond the emotions, beyond the thoughts, lies my true essential self. My higher self is infinite and divine. From this moment onwards, I choose to do the sacred sadhana of karma. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So it was a very powerful session which we had. Reflect on these 4 dimensions of karma which were given to you. We have derived it from a karma. So this is the technique of converting the negative to positive. So if you can directly apply the principles of karma, do that. That is the first choice. In case you're finding that difficult, then go to akarma and then derive the opposite. It will give you tremendous clarity. We'll be seeing this in further depth. There is more in this verse in the coming weeks. And then after this, the principle of giving and receiving, which I've already introduced a few sessions back. I introduced that in this verse itself because it will be very easy for you to understand when we get there in the coming verses. So we'll see all that in the next few weeks. The most important thing is not merely about attending these sessions. I told you, the karma will keep varying. When a person is not attending these sessions, then attending these sessions is sadhana. But now that you are attending these sessions, don't be happy with that. You should absorb and practice. That is what is karma for you. If you don't absorb and practice, then again you are slipping into akarma. according to the level, the sadhana application will also have to vary. Okay? So we'll continue further next week. Thank you very much. Hari Om.